Have you ever scrolled through social media and noticed someone who never posts pictures? No selfies, no celebrations, no updates? It almost feels strange in today's world, where visibility equals existence and silence feels like absence. But psychology suggests that silence online isn't emptiness, it's expression, and people who choose not to post photos are saying a lot without saying a word. Let's uncover the deep psychology behind people who don't post their photos on social media and what it reveals about their confidence, mindset, and emotional intelligence. 1. Privacy over popularity. In a culture that rewards exposure, some people value protection. Psychologists call this a high privacy orientation. It doesn't mean they're antisocial or secretive. It means they understand the cost of visibility. Every photo shared becomes part of a permanent digital record that others can interpret, judge, or misuse. For them, privacy is not hiding, it's healing. While many people equate sharing with connection, those who keep their images offline see connection differently. They don't need constant updates to feel validated. Their self-worth isn't built on likes or comments, it's grounded in internal peace. In psychology, this is linked to self-determination theory, the idea that true fulfillment comes when our actions come from choice, not pressure. They don't post because they're free from that pressure. When others see privacy as distance, they see it as dignity. Choosing silence becomes a way to protect mental space in a world addicted to attention. 2. A stable sense of self. Posting often fulfills a subconscious need to confirm identity through others' eyes. But those who rarely post already have clarity about who they are. Research on self-concept clarity shows that individuals who are less dependent on external validation tend to have stronger internal definitions of themselves. They don't need to display their life to know it has meaning. They can experience joy without witnesses and achievements without applause. Their identity isn't assembled through feedback. It's anchored in reflection. Think of it this way. When your sense of self is solid, you don't need mirrors everywhere. These people don't measure themselves through curated photos or comment counts. Instead, they live with quiet certainty, knowing that what's real doesn't need proof. 3. Emotional security that doesn't need attention. At first glance, posting less might seem like shyness, but psychology reveals the opposite. People who don't post often possess secure self-esteem. Unlike fragile confidence that depends on visibility, secure self-esteem doesn't fluctuate when unseen. They don't chase reassurance because they already feel grounded. Their sense of worth doesn't hinge on public acknowledgement. This kind of balance is linked to emotional intelligence, the ability to regulate one's emotions and remain stable regardless of external reactions. A 2021 study on online self-presentation found that those with secure self-esteem are less likely to rely on social networks for mood regulation. They're emotionally independent. For them, peace of mind outweighs digital applause. They've mastered the rare skill of being content without an audience, a sign of genuine maturity in a culture that equates attention with importance. 4. Deep thinkers who value meaning over exposure. People who rarely post are often introspective. They think deeply, feel deeply, and express selectively. Psychologists describe this as an internal locus of evaluation, the tendency to judge oneself by personal standards rather than others' opinions. They don't post impulsively. They share only when something truly matters. That's because they filter their thoughts through reflection, not reaction. This type of cognitive restraint is linked to higher emotional intelligence and self-awareness. In social media terms, they're the ones who observe more than they broadcast. They prefer conversations that mean something over interactions that mean nothing. And when they do speak, it carries weight because it's rare. Their restraint isn't insecurity, it's discernment. They understand that not everything valuable has to be visible. 5. They see through the digital illusion. Social media creates what psychologists call the social comparison trap. We scroll through others' highlight reels and unconsciously measure our worth against their best moments. This endless comparison can distort reality and fuel anxiety, envy, and inadequacy. But people who rarely post have usually recognized this illusion. They've seen how curated content blurs the line between truth and performance. Instead of participating in that competition, they opt out. They prefer peace over performance, authenticity over attention. By keeping their lives private, they preserve mental balance. They understand that protecting their self-esteem means limiting the spaces where it's silently attacked. They've chosen not to play a game that most people don't even realize they're trapped in. That awareness is not detachment, it's discipline. 6. Authentic confidence without performance. There's a loud kind of confidence, the one that seeks eyes, applause, and attention. Then there's the quiet kind, the one that doesn't need to be seen to exist. The latter is what defines people who don't post their photos. Studies on narcissism and social media use show that frequent self-posting often correlates with higher needs for validation and impression management. On the other hand, individuals who share less usually score higher in humility, contentment, and emotional regulation. Their self-image isn't fragile, it's internalized. They don't rely on filtered photos to feel attractive or relevant. For them, confidence means being comfortable in their own skin, even if no one's watching. Their silence isn't a lack of presence. It's a statement that says, I don't need your approval to exist. 7. Presence over performance. Every time someone stops mid-laugh to take a selfie, something subtle happens. The real moment freezes. Attention shifts from living to performing. People who avoid posting photos understand this trade-off intuitively. They'd rather experience a sunset than document it. This is rooted in mindful awareness, a psychological state of being fully present. When you're mindful, you experience the moment as it is, not as content for later. And that presence builds deeper emotional memory than any photo ever could. They know that the best memories aren't always shared. They're felt. By stepping out of the camera frame, they step fully into the moment. In a sense, their absence online is their presence in life. 8. They've chosen control in a chaotic system. The modern internet thrives on exposure. Algorithms reward activity, platforms push visibility. But people who don't post have consciously stepped out of that loop. They've escaped what behavioral scientists call the dopamine feedback cycle, the rush of posting, waiting, and refreshing for reactions. Every notification can trigger dopamine, the brain's reward chemical. Over time, it becomes a loop. Post, wait, feel rewarded, repeat. Those who don't post have unplugged from that conditioning. They've reclaimed control over their emotions instead of handing it to algorithms. In psychology, that's autonomy, the freedom to regulate your own behavior without external reinforcement. Choosing not to post is their act of rebellion against manipulation. It's quiet, but it's powerful. They've realized something profound. Attention is not the same as meaning, and visibility is not the same as value. Closing reflection. So next time you come across someone whose profile feels like a blank canvas, don't mistake their silence for absence. It might be a reflection of self-trust, awareness, and inner peace. They're not hiding, they're choosing, they're not afraid, they're free. They've understood something most of us forget. You don't need to be seen to exist, and you don't need to perform to matter. In a world obsessed with exposure, they've mastered the art of mystery. And maybe that's the truest form of digital wisdom left. If you enjoy exploring how psychology shapes the way we behave online, hit that like button and subscribe for more deep dives.